Hey, so if you've ever thought about becoming a travel writer, either just flirting with the idea or actually really seriously considering it, you may have been put off by some of the things that a lot of people are put off by, such as not having any experience to date, or you don't have any qualifications, you're not a travel writing or journalism major. You might even be worried about not having or questioning your level of talent. Well, don't worry, I'm here to tell you you don't need any of those things to become a travel writer in this day and age. I've actually got 5 quick steps that I'm going to describe now in this video, and if you follow them, you will certainly give yourself a very good leg up and head start into becoming a travel writer. Maybe not overnight, but stick at it, and these are the things you need to know to become a travel writer, essentially. Now, it might sound funny, especially if saying things like you don't need any talent, but here's an example of why that I think is the case. Talent is something you grow into. What you actually need, particularly in travel writing or any kind of content creating pursuit, is knowledge. You don't need talent to hit a deadline. You don't need talent to be able to look up or research the editor's name at your selected publication and find their email address. You don't need talent to research a destination before you go there, or to be able to talk to people while you're traveling around a place and find more information from the locals, for example. That's knowledge, that's not talent. At some point, after years of doing this, you may then consider yourself talented because you've got all this knowledge just automatically sitting inside of you. But there are shortcuts to get in front of that stage, and that's what I'm going to give you here. So step one in becoming a travel writer without any experience, qualifications, or even talent is to shift your mindset. This actually goes back to the talent question. I think so many people love the idea of becoming a travel writer, but are worried immediately. They kind of have doubts because they haven't got experience, qualifications, or talent. Like I said, you don't need that stuff right now. That stuff you can grow into. What you do need is the impetus and the motivation to start working and to get on with it. You need to realize most everybody starts from scratch, and that's all you're doing here. And the rewards are plentiful and really quite significant. So shift your mindset. Understand that if this is something you want to do and that you are serious about it, you can definitely do it. Step two is start writing now. Start a blog. Yep, I know everybody and their horse writes a blog these days, but this is a really important part of your journey in becoming a travel writer for a couple of reasons. Firstly, everyone thinks they would like to be a travel writer because they have images of walking along beaches and sipping cocktails and going to hotel openings and being paraded through cities and destinations by publicists and PR agents. There is that is a big part of the travel writing perk, but there's a lot of work involved too. And if you start a blog and actually start travel writing, start writing articles about your neighborhood, your town, your city, the trips you go on, you will quickly find out if it's actually something that you can do long term. The great thing about travel writing is it's so broad. You can write about anything and everything, whether it's in your own neighborhood, whether it's at a place you go on vacation, but it can cover things like restaurants and cafes and family excursions and beaches and swimming pools and hikes up mountains and sailing trips and whatever it is. Things that you would do in your own neighborhood or on a vacation are the things that make up travel writing articles to a large extent. So start writing about them in what you think is in a professional and journalistic way, that is research, that provides information to other travelers if they would want to do the same things as you, and see if you enjoy it. The other reason it's important is that this sets up the startings or the makings of a portfolio. When you actually start pitching to editors at publications, they will nearly always want to see some previous work just to get a flavour for what you are, how you write, the kinds of things you like to write about. And having that in your blog can be very valuable. Step three is linked to this: create a portfolio. So when you start a blog, you will immediately have a library of past pieces, past examples of work that you can share with an editor. Even better though is to actually have a portfolio of pieces that other places have published as well. So I recommend, in creating your portfolio, not only do you have your blog, but you pitch out and write for non-paying publications. Now, this is a slightly controversial issue because a lot of people think if you're going to get work, if you're going to provide a service to a website or a publication, you should get paid for it. I used to agree with that. I've now changed my mind because I think, particularly for people starting out who have no bylines and no experience, this is how you provide the kinds of things, the kinds of credentials that an editor would like to see. So you go for these for a lot of non-paying publications. Actually, I list them in my travel writing community, the Travel Writing School. I still keep that list updated because although I very rarely now need to write for non-paying publications, they can be useful to help other people out. And although they are, obviously the reason to do this is that they're much easier to get into than a paying publication, but the barrier for entry is not zero. You still need to have a reasonably professional article to get published at these places. So it's just an extra element of credential that a future prospective editor, that it's good to show them that somebody else has published your work for you. And then once you've got all that, step number 4 is actually to pitch to paying publications. Find the publication you would like to feature in. Find the publication and the editor whose stories match what you want to write about and the idea that you might have, just having been somewhere or gone on a trip or thought about something sitting at your desk. Pitching can be a very daunting and intimidating prospect for some people. I do a lot of work on pitching in the Travel Writing School, but the point here is that you have to pitch if you want to get the stories out there that you really want to write. Only you know what you really would love to write about and how you want to write about it. So that entails pitching it out to an editor, and if they like what you've got, they'll publish it. So pitching is a great way to get the stories that you really want to get out to the world out there. So it's something you need to work on, and it's how you get published, and is how you start really driving that needle, driving that dial, turning it to 11 when you're becoming on your journey to becoming a travel writer. And then step number 5 is keep learning, keep networking, keep reading. Any writer, whether it's travel writing or anything else, needs to read. Otherwise, you quickly kind of get out of date and fall out of fashion and don't understand what all the tips and nuances of the modern writing industry are. If travel media or travel writing events are coming to your neighborhood, join them, go along, talk to people. It's a great way not only of meeting other writers, but also other editors and other publicists and PR agents who are a big part of the travel writing world, can help you get onto trips, give you information and all that sort of stuff. So that's it. That's my 5 quick steps for becoming a travel writer, even if you don't have any experience, qualifications or talent. Hope that helped. See you again soon.